Hey all, Java Edition Bo here. Recently, Bedrock has just been a tad unplayable, what with text not being able to be input into any text box, full screen just randomly crashing my game for some reason, like why, and hotkeys just selecting the wrong item, because Bedrock. So I've migrated over to Java Edition for now, and it's just honestly been a bit of pain, suffering, and anguish, but I have had some fun. I've been doing some Mace PvP, watching some SMP videos. However, the problem with those videos is that they get boring pretty quickly. I mean, most Java combat fights are just multi-hour slugfests where gear and resources matter more than actual skill. It just gets boring pretty quickly. I'm pretty sure these big YouTubers know this as well, since they're always looking for interesting ways to instantly kill their players. It saves time, energy, and showcases a really cool trap or overpowered superweapon. The problem that I keep on seeing with these super weapons is they all use the same Railcannon design, specifically the one designed by JustWhiteVoid. Now, is this cannon a bad design? No, not at all. Absolutely not. This railgun is great for certain applications and is beautifully designed. Just take a look at the control circuit. The problem is that people don't use this like an in-place railgun. They use it like a single-shot crossbow, and this cannon is pretty bad for that, for a number of reasons. Issue 1. Firing delay. When properly primed, this cannon takes about 4 seconds to fire from the moment you press the activation button. In that time, your target can drop you, build up, dig down, pearl away, splash a Turtle Master Potion, or just get out of the firing line, making your shot entirely pointless. Issue 2. Cost. This cannon is expensive to make and fire. You will need all of these redstone supplies and dispensers just to get a single shot off, and the moment that you do, your cannon is as good as gone. People will know that a railgun is in play, find it, and destroy it. That is a lot of supplies to lose, even if you do kill your target. Issue 3. Concealment. Despite this cannon being relatively small when compared to other superweapons like the Orbital Strike Cannon, it's still absolutely massive and incredibly loud. The aerostasis system, for example, is just a block constantly being moved up and down, making a constant racket. If somebody is too close to it, they will hear that, and the cannon is as good as compromised and destroyed. Now, if you're smart and you understand setup and payoff, or you just read the title of this video, let's be honest here, you'll understand that I'm going somewhere with this. And I am. You see, in my disappointment with Bedrock Edition and my annoyance at people misusing a 4-year-old cannon design, I had a small little thought. I've already made Bedrock SMPs a little bit more dangerous with my Claymore design for that version, so why not make one for Java? Introducing the Wind Charge Claymore for Java Edition. Let's take a look at that again, but from a different angle. Now, I'm pretty sure you can already see the advantages to this design, but let's go over them anyways. Improvement 1. Firing delay. When correctly primed, this cannon has so little firing delay that it is effectively instant. The redstone line that fires the cannon is just that, a redstone line. The actual firing sequence only takes about 3 ticks or 150 milliseconds. Most people aren't fast enough to react to that. They're just gonna die. Improvement 2. Cost. Redstone-wise, this build is basically free. You'll need some dispensers and cobwebs to charge the cannon, but those can be removed and recycled after the process is done. The only parts of the cannon that need to stay are the piston, sticky piston, interchangeable, slime block, trapdoor, material doesn't matter, a repeater to correctly align our arrows, and an activation redstone line to connect it all. There's also a stasis chamber and concealment wall, but that's for later. Propellant-wise, this cannon gets expensive fast. This cannon uses stasis wind charges as propellant for our arrows. It also consumes a minimum of 32 wind charges per shot to guarantee a kill on full protection for netherite with a golden apple. That might sound cheap, but you're only going to be getting about 30 blocks of range out of this cannon, and you greatly increase your chance of having a misfire since you're using so little propellant. If you want to have something a bit more usable, you'll need to have about 128 or 2 stacks of wind charges loaded into your cannon. This will get you about 300 blocks of range, which is the maximum effective range, can bypass Totems of Undying, instantly break shields that are unenchanted, and can kill a player in full max netherite and a golden apple. Now, if you're facing down someone who is truly overpowered in stack, let's say they've got full projectile protection, enchanted shield, totem, turtle master, enchanted golden apple, you'll still get about 300 blocks of range, but you'll need over 4 stacks of wind charges to guarantee a kill, as well as the correct loading method. I'll go over that here a little bit. Personally, I would recommend using the 2 stacks. It has minimal impact on lag, hits a little sweet spot where you can pierce most gear that people are using, and is relatively cheap, so you can do stuff like modifying it. Another benefit of using breeze rods is that people are constantly farming them. They're good for combat, they're good to stockpile, they're just generally useful for just about anything. With TNT, it's not like there's so many innocent uses you can use for this before you're just blowing up something really big. It draws people's attention, and it won't work on servers that have TNT disabled because they don't want to have stuff griefed. Improvement 3, Concealment. I mean, it's a little tall, but if you get creative, I'm pretty sure you could get it somewhere where people won't expect it to be. Downsides. Yes, this cannon does have some downsides, although what you consider to be a downside will vary. Let's go over them. Downside 1, single use. This cannon breaks after you use it. The trapdoor that holds up our alignment repeater will break it and drop it off as an item. You only get one shot before the cannon will become useless. Then again, you are probably only going to get one shot with Void's cannon anyways before it also becomes useless and is blown up. It's not too much of a downside, all things considered, but some people will see it as such. Downside 2, spread pattern. This cannon has a very wide spread pattern compared to Void's more controlled firing cone. It means that while you could possibly snipe a player from over 300 blocks away, you're more likely to miss them since any gap between the arrows when loading them will be magnified, creating player-sized holes in the wave of arrows. Downside 3, lag and Piedar detection. This one is definitely the most important. Our propellant of stasis wind charges can sit there for an eternity. There's no time limit on them, and they're fairly difficult to detonate since there's no sympathetic explosions for them. This makes them very useful and allows us to remove the charging part of our cannon after we're done charging it. Unfortunately, the charges also show up on the Piedar and will cause lag when they're present in high amounts. Use your wind charges in moderation and be wary of this. People will know something is up if their FPS suddenly drops from 120 to 40. One last little note, if you play on a server that has a plugin that regularly kills entities, use Void's design. It's much more lag friendly for places like that, especially since all of the entities that this thing uses are stored as items and aren't summoned until they're actually needed, unlike mine. That's all the downsides that I could really think of. However, I'm not quite done yet. You see, I might have someone with less brain cells than a turnip that watches this video, and I would really hate to see them fail just because they don't understand basic tactics. So, here's some tips on how this cannon should be used, plus some other good information tossed in for good measure, like how to bypass or double pop totems. For my first nugget of wisdom, Tip 1, placement. Whether you want to use your cannon in a confined space or an open field, make sure that it's all at the same Y level. If it isn't all at the same Y level, modify the terrain to look naturally flat, or just plan around it by adding more cannons at different Y levels. It's cheap enough for that tactic to work. Tip 2, priming. You can near instantly fire this cannon by priming it first, similar to how cocking back the hammer on a double action revolver makes the next shot easier. Priming the cannon works in a similar way. Simply open up your stasis chamber to drop your arrow payload down into your alignment repeater, and you can near instantly fire them. These arrows will despawn after a minute though, so do be careful not to wait too long. If you don't prime the cannon before you try to fire it, it will take a little bit for the arrows to fall into place before you can get an actually accurate shot. This will eat into your firing time, especially if you don't have a friend to activate it for you and have to rely on redstone. Tip 3. Activation. Get creative. I know I said that using redstone slows everything down, but every time I see people using Voive's cannon design, they always have someone manually firing it. That is boring, and relying on other people is a good way to have something go wrong. Instead, try something new. Do a charge jump above a hidden lever or button. Have a planned dig down spot with an observer below it. Do something flashy and interesting. Tip 4. Concealment. This cannon can be difficult to conceal. This isn't due to the size of the weapon, rather it is because the firing angle of it is right in between two blocks. The angle makes it so that a normal piston concealment setup will sometimes catch the arrows when they're retracting. Make sure to leave enough time between your pistons dropping and your cannon actually firing. I usually use about a 2 tick on a repeater, but your needs may vary. Tip 5. Loading. Buckle up. This is going to be a big section. There are 2 ways to load this cannon. Automatically with a dispenser on a clock, or manually with an infinity bow. There are pros and cons to each method. With a dispenser, everything is simple but more expensive. Just load a bunch of arrows onto the trapdoor, then drop them down into your bubble column stasis chamber. You'll need about 40 or so to get good coverage, but using more than 40 arrows doesn't really hurt too much. Pros: easy, doesn't give kill credit, will provide good reliable coverage. Simple. Cons: lots of arrows, doesn't give kill credit, easy to accidentally pick up, not customizable. With an infinity bow, a lot more options open up, as well as chances for human error. With your bow, you can load in lines of arrows, increasing your chance of double popping, or even bypassing double totems. For those who know what a tandem charge warhead is, it acts like that. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It's a pretty cool piece of technology. This isn't guaranteed though, and can fail still depending on how many or how few lines of arrows you load into the cannon. The same also applies to shields, although that is much more reliant on how many wind charges you can cram into the cannon than it does on lines of arrows. Pros: can bypass totems and insta-break shields, does give kill credit, much cheaper on arrows, and a lot more customizable. Cons: it requires enchantments such as Power 5 and Infinity. It does give kill credit. It's also much more complicated and allows for thorn shenanigans with your leftover arrows. Now, if you've been paying attention, like you should be, Ty, yes, I'm calling you out, you'll have noticed that I have been adding kill credit to both the pros and the cons of each method. That's because it depends on what your goal is. If you want anonymity, go with a dispenser. If you want to send a message or need kill credit for a server plugin to work, use the bow. You'll have a target on your back though, so do be wary. As for the thorn shenanigans, I would normally not mention that. However, Docum77 and Methods recently made a machine that allows for players to be infinitely damaged if they leave behind even a single arrow. So be wary, lest you get spawn camped by a machine 50,000 blocks away from you for the rest of eternity. You know how I mentioned totem popping earlier can be a little bit unreliable? Well, this is how you fix it. By linking together 2 or 3 of these cannons side by side and connecting them by 5 ticks on repeaters, you can have one cannon fire, and then wait till the invincibility frames on your player are over, and then have the next one fire, and will allow for instant totem popping. Here's what that looks like. Now combine that with the arrow line method and you can get a guaranteed kill, no matter what your target's gear is. Wherever the fields of fire overlap will result in this effect. Also, as an additional side effect, it will also increase the area covered by your killing fields. This makes it much more difficult to get lucky and be narrowly missed by the cannon, because you have 5 of them pointed in someone's general direction. I mean, hell, if you really want to, you can chain 5 or 10 of these things together, annihilate everything in a general direction. The only limit you have is how much lag your server mates can handle before they start suspecting something. Also, this little timing circuit sample here, it's pretty good. You should use it. It does lock itself out, but this is a single-use cannon. Mess around with it a little bit, find something that works for you. Final tip, laser beam cannon. Wait, what? Yeah, there's just a tiny reason that I didn't mention this thing earlier. It can't shoot straight, like at all. I've tried to find a good block alignment for this thing, but I'd probably have to delve into entity alignment to get it to work. And I'm working with 5 good brain cells on my average day, so that's just not really in the cards. Here's the design for it anyways. It will deviate by a block every 55 blocks or so. That doesn't make it useless, mind you. It just makes it kinda bad for PvP applications. If you were to, let's say, want an arrow-based wither killer or reusable cannon for killing a mod's custom boss, this would be a pretty useful design. Now, I'm not smart enough to design my own infinite wind charge compressor, but there are people on YouTube who are smart enough and have already made one. I'm pretty sure you can figure out how to hook one up to this cannon if you really want to. Now, as for the world download and schematic for this cannon, there isn't one. If this simple design is too complex for you to copy from this video, this cannon is not for you. Maybe in the future when I make something a little more complex, I'll make a schematic and a world download for everyone. But for now, try to make it on your own. Puzzle over it and figure out how it works. Understand more about the game's mechanics and strengthen your mind. It would prove useful in the future. Now, before we part, dear viewer, I have one final question for you. What will you do with the weapon I have gifted you? Who will you become? A tyrant who rules an empty world? A hero who slays an immortal god? An assassin who steals life in exchange for gold? Or a warrior whose wrath even the heavens fear? Tell me your stories. Let me share in your victories and your defeats, your joy and your misery, the final note at the end of your symphony, and the quiet bell that heralds the beginning of a new adventure. If you do use my cannon design, please post a video of it to YouTube, at me in it, and let me know down in the comments of this video. I would very much like to enjoy seeing the havoc and chaos that you create. Until next time, this has been Bo, signing off. Have a good rest of your day. Maybe it's just too late in the day, but I am messing around with replay mod for the first time, and I open up render settings and I just, you know, they put this in there because too many people kept on doing something. Oh, I just figured I'd record this because I just find this hilarious right now. I could just feel the pain from the developers writing this. Oh, I'll probably put this in somewhere in the video, maybe at the end, who knows.